Woo!
Woo!
Casey, what a fight, Casey. I can't even. What a fight. That's all I can say. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's the UFC 284 post-fight press conference. And what a UFC 284 it was. Remember in the pre-fight show, Casey, when we were like, who are the people we're going to talk about other than the main event? No one. We're just going to talk about the main event forever. And maybe Yair for like a minute. But, oh, what a phenomenal close to a pretty good show. And your UFC. Hi, everybody. I'm Jed Mashu, MMAfighting.com, great website. Casey Lyde, Mr. 3024, MMAfighting.com, great website. And this is the post-fight presser. People are going to be coming up. We'll be talking to them. It says Rio de Janeiro, which is not where this is. That's actually in Perth, Australia.
All right.
But you know the man with the plan. Jose Young's on the scene, post-fight presser. I'm sure we'll have guys coming up here pretty quick, but we're going to talk through it. And officially, your UFC lightweight champion is still Islam Makhachev. He wins a unanimous decision, 48-47, 48-47, 49-46 over featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski in, I feel comfortable saying, fight of the year at the moment, like the pretty clear-cut fight of the year right now, right? Right, Case?
If we're talking pure, just high stakes, high level mixed martial arts, absolutely. Yeah. There might be a slobber knocker later in the year that might, overtake this, but in terms of just
always can be,
in terms of just like, God, these guys are just really, really, really freaking good at mixing the martial arts. And that's what we saw tonight. And, it was fantastic. Coming to the fight, I was pretty confident with a dominant-ish Islam victory, and I love being wrong. I was pleasantly surprised that we got to see a dang good competitive fight, just from a fan's point of view, a fan's perspective. Shelling out $80 for this. Yeah, this is what we are fight fans for. This is it.
Couldn't agree more. I like you. I thought Makhachev was going to kind of run over him. And I'll tell you what, that first round, I was like, oh, I feel great. Like, I was exactly right. It's a little bit competitive, like, because Volkanovski's one of the very best fighters in the world. Nobody has ever taken that away from him. But when Makhachev gets to his spots, it's going to be game over, baby. In that first round, we saw him get there and dominate. But Volk adjusted really, really well. And Makhachev could never... Not never, because he did get it back in the fourth. We've got people, it sounds like, Casey.
No. It's just the broadcast feed went through real quick. Sorry.
Gotcha. But yeah, just a tremendous fight all around. Volkanovski. Honestly, Volkanovski kind of summed it up with his post-fight speech to Michael Bisping of, he underestimated my grappling, and I probably underestimated his striking. That really was the story of the fight. I see our comments are ablaze with people saying Volk got robbed. That's just not correct at all.
I don't even think Volk
it was a really good,
robbed.
really close fight. I don't think Volk even believes he got robbed. If you wanted to score it for Volk, it is not as bad of a scorecard as some of the judges rendered on this fight card tonight. But that should have been an Islam Makhachev win. And that takes nothing away from Alexander Volkanovski. He's moving up a weight class, and he gave Islam Makhachev the hardest fight of anybody that has ever fought him, save Adriano Martins. So a tremendous performance all around. And I think we're going to get it again. Not immediately. I don't think we should get it again immediately.
No.
But, Volk's going to go back to his thing. If Islam can hold that lightweight belt, maybe they both, Volk fights Yair, and then maybe he fights Arnold Allen. If Arnold Allen can pull off a win over Max, or gets 2 more wins, defends the belt 2 more times, and then we're looking 2024. Maybe we run that back. This time they probably do it, somewhere else. We have, though, Jack Della Maddalena, who scored a first-round submission win over Randy Brown. Let's listen to him.
That's good. Well, Jack, from right here, congratulations on one of our could be the biggest win of your career. I'll let you tell me if I'm wrong, but what is the emotions now after this massive win here in your hometown?
Yeah, definitely the biggest win of my career. It's the toughest test of my career, and yeah, it feels great.
Well, you said you would knock him out in the first round, but it was a submission in the first round. So walk us through the exchange. It looked like he was kind of showboating a bit, trying to use his length, and then you clipped him once and just tackled him.
Yeah, it was sort of. Yeah, it was the style that he does a lot. Like I watched a lot of his fights, and he gets pushed up against the cage and then just sort of cruises out. He did it to me a few times, and I just waited for him to cruise out. And I hit him with a hard shot and went down. I hit him a few times, and I thought I was landing, and then he turned and gave his neck. So I know how to choke someone, so I just jumped on it.
It looked like when you clipped him with the right hook, I think most fighters would probably kind of come with the left, but you followed up again with like a similar right hook again. So what did you see from Randy just kind of collapsing to just follow up both punches simultaneously?
Yeah, I like doubling up on the same side. Yeah, a lot of MMA fighters just stick to left, right, left, right, left, right. But I like to show some class in the boxing, double up on the same side.
Sure. And you obviously, you said you want top 15, but when do you want, I know you're going to Bali or wherever you said, but how soon do you want to get back in there? Because we have a few welterweight fights that are coming up soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are match. I'm keen to, I feel like I like my schedule last year. It was for in January and June and November. So yeah, probably mid-year would be cool.
And finally, what do you make of the fans here in Perth? Sitting cage side is like, you can't really hear yourself think.
Yeah, it was insane. It was what I expected, what I envisioned, and yeah, pretty surreal. I tried to take it in as much as I could.
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Mitch.
I just thought more people wanted to talk to you quicker, but I'll take it. In a fight like this, mate, when it ends so one-sided so quickly, and you head back over the next couple of weeks with your head coach, Ben Vickers, how do you break this down? Do you just go, yep, great, cool, let's move forward? Or can you still take things away that you weren't happy with?
We've got stuff that we're just working on in general. So we just get back to the drawing board and continue to improve on the skills that we have and get better at them. And yeah, I think I would look back at the fight, and I haven't actually seen it yet, but I think there will be some things that we can pick up on.
And over the last year or two, it was about getting to the UFC, seeing if you belong. You now well and truly belong at the top. Do you have a long-term plan in terms of the career, or is it just guy in the top 15, you'll take anyone?
Yeah, honestly, I'll fight anyone in the top 15. I'm after challenging myself, and I think, yeah, I thought Randy would bring the challenge, and yeah, I'm excited for the next challenge.
And is there any name that you think you'd match up well with?
Not really. Not really. I think Vicente Luque doesn't have a fight. I think that would be a banger.
Awesome. All right, thanks, mate.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right.
Wow, that was incredibly short for Jack Della Maddalena. While we wait for the next person, we don't need to get bogged too down the main event because we should talk about Jack Della Maddalena. Submission! Who saw that coming, Case?
Okay. Sorry, I saw so much awesome stuff tonight. So he got Randy Brown against the cage, and then Randy Brown kind of broke off the cage, and then he hit him with that hook kind of right behind the neck and the ear, right?
Yeah, it landed right behind the earish in the wobble, and Randy Brown's flare flopped.
Yeah,
it was literally the first time Randy Brown was not in space when he actually got his back semi up against the cage and he couldn't exit out on like a good big wide angle. Caught one. Yeah. Big right hand, and it
ground and pound, and then rear naked choke, right?
A little bit, honestly, not a lot of ground and pound because he flare flopped. JDM followed him down, tried to hit some shots. Randy Brown turtled and fed the arm under. So if you had Jack Della Maddalena by submission on your bingo card, congratulations, because first round win, a lot of people probably called that, but not like that, certainly. So, and now he's calling for a fight with Vicente Luque.
It was. I love that fight because for about the first, I don't know when did that fight end? How it ended about 2 minutes into the fight. Say the first 90 seconds, I'm going, oh man, Randy Brown. Like I underestimated Randy Brown. He's going to use that range, and he's really going to start picking.
He came out
picking,
hot.
Yeah, picking
Fought
JDM
really well
apart.
to start.
But it turns out JDM
Yeah.
was just like, I'm just patient, just holding my hand, keeping my hands up, elbows in, and then got him to the position of the cage where he wanted, and then like, all right, I do my thing. Great performance. Just a great performance. Better than expected because we got to see.
It was.
We got to see the mixing of the martial arts. We got to see that he can transition from striking to ground and pound to full on jiu-jitsu and finish a fight any way he wants, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why this fight was booked. That's why it was placed in such a prominent spot on the card, and he delivered, and he will get a even bigger fight next. And,
yeah, he called for Vicente Luque there in the presser, and I don't hate it. You know, I don't. If Luque doesn't want to take that fight because he, you know, doesn't want to be the guy sacrificed at the altar of the young up and comers, okay, I totally get that, but it's going to be an awesome fight for however long it lasts, no doubt about it. So if that's what ends up happening for JDM coming back, I'm in for it. But honestly, throw a dart, man. Welterweight has a lot of fun guys hanging in that back end, and JDM looks like the real deal. I mean, he's looked like it before, but we were talking about on the pre-fight show, Randy Brown is a guy who could bring something new and different, and for a minute and 30 seconds, he did. And that was all it took for JDM to figure out how to address that and move forward. So
and JDM didn't take any real damage during that first 90 seconds or anything, right? He just kind of
no. I mean, he ate shots. He didn't eat like super clean shots, but you know, Randy Brown was landing the mark. He was firing the jab through the high guard, and he was getting some shots around the guard, but it was mostly JDM couldn't work in that range that Randy Brown was setting until he got him into a place where Randy Brown couldn't move into the big open space. And in the flash of an eye, man, just very quickly it was like, now's the time, explode, and he kills him. So
yeah, I'm interested to know what Randy Brown's game plan was it like, do what you do, but whatever you do, don't put your back against the cage.
I think that was very likely it.
And you can remain disciplined for 90 seconds or so, but then eventually, you know, your opponent with someone with such good footwork like JDM just pushed him to the right corner, and then boom. So yeah, great performance.
It's just narrow margins because, frankly, we saw that in the main event. I see the comments, a lot of people firing out some very aggressive Volk pro takes, and good for you guys. You know, live your lives, but. We saw it happen like in the fourth round and in the fifth round. Frankly, now I know Volk wins that fifth round, but up until the last 90 seconds when he drops Islam, Volk was losing that round as well because in the fifth round, to me at least, he was overcommitting because he had to. He knew he was behind. But in the fourth round, beautiful counter level change. And that was, as the commentary team said, Volk just kind of had a lapse. He got a little too eager, a little over aggressive, walked right into it. And then, nope, takedown, back control. I'm about to spend 4 minutes here. And it's small margins, man. And that's what Randy Brown found out. And, I think Volk knew it, but he found out tonight as well.
Yep. So you want to talk about the main event? How'd you score?
I do. I will throw the main caveat I always do. I was doing the live blogs, and there's a big caveat there because I can't watch like every amount of it fully locked in because I'm writing as I'm doing it. So I may miss some things. I had it 4-1 for Makhachev. Have absolutely no issues with 3-2 Makhachev. Round 3 I thought was coin flip. I favored damage and thought Makhachev dropping Volk in that, or like buzzing him, I guess he didn't drop him, was enough to kind of be the thing that took it. But 3-2, 4-1. How about you? Were you on the 3-2 or the 4-1 train?
I was also on the 4-1 train. I can easily see it 3-2. And I think we saw the same fight.
Yeah.
It was the third round kind of easily gone either way. I saw a few people give the first round to Volk, which I was kind of surprised, but I think it was the first round.
I saw some people give the second round, and that's the round that I'm okay with you also giving to Volk. Most people didn't. If you look at MMA decisions, a vast majority of people have it 3-2 or 4-1 Makhachev. But I think if you're giving that fight to Volk, it's 2-3-5 for sure. And then 3 was a coin flip, and two, Volk had moments. So I totally get it. But yeah, you said something on we should dive into while we wait for somebody. You're going to move Volk to number 1 pound for pound after this. Now, you don't have him as it right now, but this performance is going to make you move him to number 1. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. In the terms of pound for pound as a fighter, as a human body, Volk is the number 1 pound for pound fighter. If we were ranking lightweights, Volk would be the second best lightweight in the world. But pound for pound, I have Volk back at number 1. Coming into the fight, I did have Islam number 1 and Volk number 2, and that's how much Volk impressed me. He lost the fight, but I'm moving him above Islam in the pound for pound rankings.
I think that's totally fair.
Does that make sense? Okay, yeah.
Oh, totally fair. And I actually may do the same. I was laughing because some of the comments are very angry about scoring round 3 for Makhachev. And stats do not tell the full story. So we're clear. Significant strikes, 16-14 in favor of Makhachev. He also had slightly more control time. If you gave it to Volk, no problem. But to act like that's a clear Volk round, you guys are just drinking the Kool-Aid. And that's okay. Fandom is important to have. You got to love the people you love. But you can come with a little more clarity than that, guys.
So
yeah.
Media-wise, looks like you and Dwayne Fox from Bloody Elbow and myself, my score isn't up here, did have the 49-46 score. As far as people having the score for Volkanovski, we have Nick Baldwin, someone from Shaq from CBS Sports, Drake Riggs, Sean Sheenan, and someone from Sports Daily and Sherdog. And
very reasonable people have it scored that.
I don't have the biggest issue with that. I'm actually pleasantly happy with the media scores on here, actually.
Yeah, I think they mostly nailed it. And that's like, if Volk had won, and this is a real inside baseball and stupid take, and I'll own that, but I'm glad Volk didn't win, because if he had won, while it wouldn't have been a robbery, it's a big win in a way that the after effects of that would be so outsized. Whereas, like, if he's going to do this and be the best fighter of all time, et cetera, I would have wanted it to be more definitive, you know? Like, I would have wanted him to get that 5th round finish, because then that's putting a stamp on it as opposed to edging out not a great decision. So I think we got the right winner. I think we're going to, like I said, we're going to get it again because they're going to run this back in a year or two after both men rack up some more wins. But for now, we have, I don't know who this is.
Mr. David Shaw.
Oh, that is David Shaw. Okay. David Shaw with the UFC.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Just to kick things off, let's start with the bonuses. The fight of the night was obviously Islam and Volk. Performance bonuses go to Jack Della and Yair. The gate tonight broke the Australian arena record. So highest grossing event for any arena in Australia across any content, concerts, sports, exhibitions, whatever. The attendance was 14,124, fully sold out, with a gross total in Australian dollars of 5,911,598. 2 transports tonight, Pedro and Shaynis. And that's it from my side. Any questions from you guys?
Yeah,
Mike?
right here. Well, phenomenal crowd tonight. I mean, you've been all over the world and seen so many of these events. Where does tonight's rank in your pound for pound list?
I mean, pound for pound best, pretty high on the list. I mean, the place was deafening. Like, I feel like I've been listen to my voice. I feel like I've been at like a Metallica concert, just sitting in front of speakers. It was great. We went through, a few of us in the back, just going through some of the really memorable events over the last, 12 months at least. I'm thinking about London last March and Paris, a few of the Vegas events, and this is right up there. It was loud. I think it was 50% full before the first fight happened, and then 90% full during the early prelims. So it was an incredible week after not having been here for over 3 years. And one of the things that, we've got this relationship with the tours in Western Australia, TWA, and we do a lot of work trying to figure out, the impact of the event, right? There's a lot of discussions around the impact from an economic perspective, how many people are coming to Perth. And not only did we have an out-of-state ticket purchase percentage of about 68%, but we had a thousands of people that are coming to Perth because even without a ticket. So I think the how much this event was coveted across the country, I think is a testament to how far mixed martial arts has come, all across the country, not just WA, and something that certainly gives us so much confidence coming back, hopefully as soon as possible.
Yeah, and this is kind of two questions in one. When are you looking at a return? And Alex, in his post-fight interview, said something, I believe it was really loud, about Adelaide and Yair. Did he tip?
Did you say Adelaide?
Yeah, did he tip something off there? Or?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because we haven't made a decision yet on what the next event is. But just in speaking to Mick just now, the brilliance of just these guys and the way they put the card together and thinking about the opportunities for not only other Aussie athletes and where they're going to compete in the next 6 months, but the fact that Yair's had such a brilliant performance and now he's up against Alex. You basically got UFC Countdown sort of produced already with all the footage that came out of those two fights. So not sure the timing of our return or the timing of that event in particular, that fight in particular, but we will definitely be here at some point again this year.
Well, what about the flip side of that? You now have, I know Yair's an interim champion, but 2 Mexican champions essentially. Is there a possibility of going back to Mexico and maybe bringing Yair there for this fight? Yeah,
Lawrence has been talking about that for a while. We want to get the Performance Institute open. We announced that earlier this week, the Performance Institute in Mexico City. And I'm not really sure about the timing, probably later this year. But at some point or in and around that launch or in that opening, it's going to make sense to go to Mexico City.
Last thing for me, kind of, away from that little location question, any updates on Canada? Is the Canadian asking here? Are we going to get there anytime soon?
2 good buds just chatting.
Yeah, tell me. No one's watching.
Yeah. No, there's no update. We've got nothing to report at the moment. But we've been very clear. I think every time that we've chatted, it's only a matter of weeks probably until we announce something.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking back when dominant champions fought in their hometown, like when Stipe won in Cleveland and he never went back, people always thought, like, why did we never go back to Cleveland with Stipe? Can you bring Alex anywhere else outside of Australia after witnessing what we did tonight?
I think there's, one of the things that Hunter was mentioning in the back was the fact that stock's never been higher. So it wasn't even a Pyrrhic victory, right? Because he didn't seem to take a ton of damage. I know he was on the ground quite a bit, but the fact that his stock rose by virtue that he took Islam 5 rounds, I'm sure a ton of people had on their scorecards that he was up 3-2 and not down 3-2. So I think we can take him wherever. Now, if the question is, does it make most sense to always have him here? Then there's a big argument for the impact that he made across the country this week. Our pay-per-view buys in Australia were trending to be bigger than our pay-per-view buys in Australia when Conor fought, right? So the impact of Volk and numerous others, including Jack Della, who had an incredible performance as well. I think it makes a lot of sense to come back, right? We're still in this world of this is one of our principal pay-per-view territories around the world. And so from a promoter standpoint, it's important to have him in an area where he can make the most impact, not only from a brand perspective, but also so we can continue to reach new high water marks on the revenue side.
And on the flip side of that, I know you don't make the matchups or anything, but at what point do you start bringing non-Australian superstars onto these cards? As much as they love Jack and Rob and Ty and Alex, I'm sure people here would love to watch Jorge Masvidal fight or Leon Edwards fight. At what point do you bring non-Australian stars here?
We look at it as it's a luxury that we've got so many competitive and so many high quality Australian athletes, and you see the impact. The Yair and Emmett fight was great, but it was an incredible fight. It didn't have the same resonance with the crowd as the rest of the Aussies competing or the Kiwis competing. So how long? We had Rousey in home and. Trying to think, you put me on the spot. Fatigued after this event, man. I feel like I've just gone 5 rounds with Islam, I think there's a real opportunity. There's one thing you saw that over the years you can sense that the understanding and appreciation for mixed martial arts has continued to rise almost every time we've come back, right? And there were just small kind of nuances, slight adjustments in position, slight holds on attempted subs where. If someone, made that move, the fan base almost unanimously started to cheer, right? They understood exactly what was happening in a very precise and acute way. And I think that's a testament to how far the sport has come here. So could we bring other global stars? 100%. But when you've got great Australians or New Zealanders that can compete, it also makes sense. Like it's almost been an embarrassment of riches, right? Like you've had, Izzy and Rob and Volk and Ty, and the list goes on. We're in this really great period of mixed martial arts in Australia.
I don't know if this is sort of you're the right guy for this question necessarily, but a lot of fans are saying that ticket pricing is crazy for events like this, events like London. I'm curious, is that something that you guys set, or is that Ticketmaster dynamic pricing we've heard about a lot recently? And how much do you have to do with those prices?
Yeah, I mean, we scale the venue, right? But we scale the venue based on data points and education on what the market can bear at the moment. Did it make sense to bring this fight to Optus, to the stadium here? I mean, possibly. There's probably 5,000 or 10,000 people that came into the city that didn't have tickets. So could we have scaled up to 30 or 40? I think the demand would have been there. It obviously would have changed the average ticket price. But I think there was an opportunity, given the demand, just to scale it appropriately. So this is driven by our knowledge of what the market can bear at the moment.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, where does Australia rank in terms of countries that you have to work with in bringing events? Australia, for its size, seems to get relatively quite a lot of UFC events. Is it because the government is so transparent with working with you guys? Tourism, like what actually makes it so easy? So working with state governments in this country in more of a partnership way is a relatively new thing. And I think the affinity and the interest, the desire for like global events, whether it's sports or music or food or fashion festivals, whatever it might be, is heightened in Australia because, one, people love events in this country, and two, like it's far, right? It takes a lot to, it's helpful for promoters or other managers of tours or sports events, to make it here. It wasn't long ago that we were fighting or working with to educate state governments around the health and safety protocols and practices that we've got in our sport, why the octagon is a better, field of play than a boxing ring. And so a lot of that work and that education, I think, has gone into the development of just the understanding of our sport, right? We want to work closely. We've always talked about this concept of running to regulation to ensure that, not only are we working with state governments to educate them about our sport, but also about the proper rules that govern mixed martial arts here. So I think recently there's been, much more constructive and productive conversations with local governments around how we can partner on events. And this week, working with the Tourism Western Australia was a good example of that. And if I could just ask you a question, once again, I don't know if you're the right guy for this either, but when Islam commented on the lack of promotion for this event, do you know what? Because obviously it was huge. Like, you heard it tonight. Everyone's talking about it. People that don't have tickets are watching it somewhere. Do you know why he might have thought that? I have no idea. I mean, I haven't talked to him about it. I don't know the root cause of that. What I do know is that, this is one of these events, and Dana and Sean and Mick and Hunter have been talking about it for months. Like, you don't get many opportunities to have the pound for pound number 1 and 2 together, right? Like, it's an overused cliche, but the stars really do need to align, right? You've got to have the right athletes at the right time of their careers. You've got to have, a venue that makes sense, right? To bring it to Australia was absolutely perfect for us. And then you've obviously got to have at least weight classes where they're within one weight class of each other. And so this was the perfect circumstance where you've got two guys that and it turned out to be an absolutely brilliant fight. So I'm not sure what the impetus or sort of the cause or the objective of those comments were. I certainly didn't agree with it. Thank you.
Can I just ask over here, Mitch from over here. We're really excited over in WA about Jack Della Maddalena. We just saw, he's not a one-trick pony, gone from knockouts to now submission. Where does the UFC sort of see him in the next 12 months? And he says he wants a top 15 welterweight now.
So it's a tough conversation or tough topic for me to comment on because it's not, within my purview. I know talking to Sean and Mick, I mean, these guys think that he's the real deal. What that means on his next bout, I've got no idea. Will he get a top 15? I mean, I think his performance, like Randy Brown's no joke. I think his performance tonight probably warrants something like that, but not for me to comment. But I think it's a pretty safe bet that he's going to continue to rise up the ranks.
And you just spoke about, this stadium or this arena, and how full it was. Jack sort of mentioned that one day his dream is to hold a big fight here. We've got a big stadium down the road that can seat close to 50. I know it's outdoors. Mm-hmm. Is something like that even possible for somewhere over here, considering what you saw tonight?
You've got good precedents in this country, right? With a couple in Melbourne, Etihad, Marvel. So we're not going to rule it out. At some point, it might make sense. We don't do a lot of them. Done sort of 5 or 6 in the past. But, if there's one country that can handle it, it's probably this country.
Thanks.
Does having such successful events in Australia detract from the likelihood of there being events in New Zealand? Because Australia is just more scalable?
No, I mean, our events in New Zealand have been incredible. Yeah, no, not at all.
When would be the likelihood of the next kind of event coming to New Zealand?
Could be this year. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to, from an event perspective, and I've spoken to a few guys about this in the past few months. I mean, we are getting back to pre-COVID levels in terms of the proportion of international events that we have on our overall. We're not going to get all the way back there this year, but we will get back there at some point in the next year or two. And that likely means 2 or 3 events in Australia and New Zealand every year.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Just one more. Going off that, once you do get back to pre-COVID levels, once you say, as you hope, how many UFC events do you think would still be at the apex?
That's a good question. I think the apex is always going to be in the mix now. It makes a lot of sense. We kind of turn off the lights and lock the doors when the event's over. And it's, it makes sense from an ease of operations. It also makes sense as a good fallback plan. Like if we have something that just doesn't work out in a venue, or if it's tough to get to a certain city we want to get to, we can always go to the apex. I think there's a lot of advantages to it. So I don't know the number, but I think it'll always be in the mix. We really appreciate everyone's support. It's huge for us to come back to Australia, and it's really important for us to put on a good show. And I think the work that you guys all did was incredibly helpful in promoting the event across the country and around the world. We're pretty excited with the results this week, not only in the octagon, but outside. And so appreciate all your support, guys. Thank you.
That's David Shaw. Giving a shout out to all the hardworking people like the great Jose Youngs who are there in Perth for his fight card. And Casey, we got to go back to Australia ASAP, right? Like that crowd was nuts.
Yeah, and it was really interesting, the fact that I did like what he kind of said about basically they weren't really into the Yair Emmett fight. They were like, okay, cool. But when their hometown boys were there, that was when
they were respectful. They weren't like shitty about it. But yeah, and that was always a part of this that was a little weird. I know we dropped some fights off, and that's sort of it. Like if we had Kai Kara France, if we had Robert Whittaker, those would have been ideal co-mains. But this one, it was mostly we can do this here because they're fighting for Volk's belt, right? But yeah, that was a little odd. But then nobody could hate what Yair did. So let's go ahead and talk about Yair because he's probably going to be the next guy up to the podium. Unbelievable performance. Really took it to Josh Emmett for most of that fight. I know Emmett had some moments, but he gets a second round triangle choke 4 minutes, 19 seconds into that round, locks it up, gets the tap, becomes the interim featherweight champion. What do you have to say about Yair Rodriguez?
This is the Yair Rodriguez I've been kind of hyping up in my own mind for the last few years. This is the Yair Rodriguez I thought was going to be able to beat Max Holloway, a few months back or a year ago, whenever he fought him.
Gave him hell.
Yeah, you gave him hell. Yair Rodriguez he took a little time to mature, I guess, as a person and as a fighter. If Yair's had some issues outside the cage, that's for another conversation. But tonight was great. Emmett looked awesome. Actually, he just didn't look as good as Yair. Emmett was Emmett.
Emmett looked like Emmett. I won't say he looked awesome, but he did look like Emmett.
An awesome version of Emmett. I don't know.
he did not look like he was 38 years old and falling off. But yeah. I have a very I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure that Josh Emmett is a very strange fighter for me to evaluate
Yeah.
with the way he goes about things, but
But
unbelievable performance from Yair. And this worked out as well as it could for featherweight tonight, honestly. Like, it would have been a great story if Volk gets the win, etc. But if he gets the win, I never bought that he was coming back. I just don't think that would have been reasonable. But let's hear from the man himself. Oh, Alexander Volkanovski, still your UFC featherweight champion. He's up here.
Alex, you dared to be great tonight. It didn't, go your way, but it was a very, very close fight. Do you feel that you won, or how did you feel about the scorecards?
Look, man, it was a close fight. So, what can you do? I'm the type of person that I could have done more. So I'm a bit harder on myself. A lot of people probably. A lot of people counted me out, so they're like, "Oh, hey, wow!" Like, you know what I mean? But I was never counting myself out. I expected to win, so I'm disappointed. I know I could have done more. Could have capitalized on the things earlier as well. I did think he was going to be stronger, and I probably could have done more earlier. But anyway, what do you do? Credit to him. Well-rounded, yeah. I underestimated his striking. He underestimated my wrestling and stuff like that. So, what do you do? Mixed martial arts, yeah. We at least we threw it all out there.
Yeah, I mean, in that fifth round, like, it was right there for you. Is that just one of those things? If you felt like you had another round or some more time on the clock?
Yeah, of course. I felt like maybe I could have done that earlier. Like I said, there was positions where I was like, he's not strong. I even said in my corner, you'll probably hear it. I'm like going, he's not strong. I'm not being a dick. I wasn't being disrespectful. I was just like, oh, he's not strong. But maybe he's baiting me. Maybe he's waiting for me to do something. So I didn't capitalize it straight away, which I should have. And I started realizing that later on. I was like, fuck. Excuse my language. Could have done more. And then I'm going to try and get him down, you know what I mean? And then we end up getting there scrambles. I was like, fuck it, let's go all out. I reckon I can do something on top here as well. So I did that. But, maybe I could have done that earlier, maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, I'll watch the fight, do some research. But, yeah, it's pretty clear that, I could have won that fight. That's why I'm hard on myself.
Did he have you hurt at all at any point? Like some of the
I
shots
hurt, I don't know.
landed
I think I dropped to a knee or something. Like I said, I was there the whole time. So me saying that, wasn't a knockdown wouldn't be fair. But, I mean, I was there the whole time. Like, I think I come back with a punch straight away. So, yeah. Again, I'm not going to make excuses when it comes to things like that. Yeah, I was sweet. So, anyway.
Yeah, and the last thing for me, I'm sure they'll get into, the fight with Yair and that business, but you did mention in the cage, I'll be back at lightweight. Is it your hope that Islam continues to defend and whenever you come back, he's still the guy there?
I'll watch the fight anyway. I'll watch the fight and see what it was like. I'm hearing that he was saying, I heard a whisper, I could be wrong, that he was going back to his corner saying he wants a rematch because he thought he lost. So that's funny. I'm going to jump on that. Rematch.
Thanks, Alex.
Where'd you hear that he wanted a rematch? Who told you that? He
I don't know. Was it wrong? No, I don't know. I did
no
hear
idea.
whether he said that, whether he thought that he might have lost that if it did. I don't know. I just heard that from someone, but I'll watch the fight. We'll see.
And you said you underestimated his striking. Maybe what exactly?
No, not really. Obviously, I knew he's got a good eye. He's got a good eye, so he sees things okay, so he can counter. It's like his feet doesn't function as good as his eye. So it's like his eyes want to do something, his punches will do something because he can see it, but then his legs can't keep up. But yeah, that was enough to land some here and there. So it went too hard. That's why, because he probably wasn't based enough. I shouldn't be telling him these things. But yeah, he still landed. So good on him. There was an elbow I ran straight in. I'm like, nice. He's seen that again. His eye's not too bad. He's got a good eye. His distance isn't too bad. Again, I could have capitalized more, man. Even in I guess I was just expecting him to be a bit more relentless in the shots. So maybe held back just a little bit till the last round, I guess.
And we saw you talking to him throughout the entire fight.
Yeah.
Like even when he had your back, you were talking to him while you were punching him. What were you saying? Was he talking back?
Look, again, when you're in positions like that, I'm not being a dick. I'm not being disrespectful, but it's getting his head. You know what I mean? Like even when he had me, I'm like going, "Oh, you're not that strong." Like I'll say stuff like that, and then he's there. I'm going, "What? You're just hanging on?" I'll go, "You said 15 seconds. I'm gonna, you're gonna drag me deep waters. That type of stuff." I remember that stuff. It's like, "You're just hanging on for dear life." So it's just stuff like, again, I'm not being disrespectful. He's still in a good position, so it's up to me to get out of there. But I'm going to get in his head and just just kept punching him in the head, saying like, Again, I guess a body lock is a dominant position, so the refs can't just leave, even though he was just hanging on and trying to hide his head. But yeah, so just let him know as I go on. Yeah, look at you, like, just trying to survive in certain positions. That was all I was saying.
I have to ask what you thought of Yair Rodriguez's performance. You obviously said you want to drop back down and unify. He pulled off the submission win over Josh Emmett.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But of course, yeah. So it was a good win. Good win by Yair. He looked sharp on his feet. Caught him a couple of times, rocked him a couple of times, and caught him with a triangle. So I was training at that stage, but yeah, good on him. Like I said, I'm not a selfish guy. I'm all about building things up. Now we got a guy, right? There's a guy in 45 that, you know what I mean? There's a guy that deserves that shot, and it's clear, and that's what I wanted. But we'll see what's happening.
Alex, going
So
back
congratulations to you.
Going back
Yeah, or is it yeah? I always say yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought everyone else was saying it wrong.
Going back to the fourth round where you had your back for ages. Okay, it is a dominant.
It was fourth round, that one?
Yeah. It is a dominant position, but like you said, it wasn't trying to advance, wasn't really going for submissions, was just kind of trying to avoid your shots. Is there a length of time where after which the referee should possibly consider separating it?
I ain't a ref, so I don't know. If he's trying, I don't even think he was trying to go for submissions at that stage because he knew I could just get my head to the. So, like I said, yeah, I don't know. Again, it's a strong position. It should always be up to the person. Again, I'm the type of. That's just me, right? Like, I could sit there and be like, oh yeah, whatever. But for me, I'm like, instead of me fucking, which this is how everyone should be. Instead of me trying to blame the fucking ref, I blame myself because I should have got myself out of there. You know what I mean? So. I don't know the ref's rules, however that is, but again, I'm more harsh on myself, not the ref for things like that.
Obviously, in moments in the clinch against the cage, it looked like you were going for the takedown yourself. I'm curious, was that just because you felt, I can do something here? Or was there?
No, he was just trying to go for. He was going for position, put himself out of position. Again, I could have got some of those. Man, I told you, I'm fucking strong. Like I'm telling you, I could have definitely got more takedowns if I really wanted, but I guess I was second guessing myself in sort of positions, but yeah, I don't know. It just they were there, so it's just to let him know he's out of positions. Like, don't fucking think you're just gonna hold me in these positions. Like, it doesn't work like that with me. So as soon as I'll do that and then grab the body lock, he would obviously freak out and be like, oh shit, I'm out of position, go sit back, and just me letting him know. And again, I could capitalize more, but.
Well, do you think he's got a bit more respect for Australian wrestling now?
I think he does, yeah. But I mean, again. I could have done more.
Last one from me. I know you're going to be super hard on yourself and say you could have done more and stuff like that. The concept of pound for pound is a weird thing, right? It's like, if you're the same size with your current skill set, who wins that fight?
Well, that's the thing. He put the title on the right line, right? Which is, we'll fight for his title. But I mean, pound for pound, let's remember pound for pound. It goes a size, and why do you think I was a massive underdog and stuff like that? But at the same time, I expected to win, so I ain't going to sit there and be like, oh, he was bigger and all that. I was like, yeah, you went up to fucking lightweight, of course. You know what I mean? That's expected. But pound for pound is a funny thing. Me going out there and winning would have showed just why, I'm that pound for pound, you know what I mean? But you can see that I could definitely win that fight. I definitely want that fight back.
Is it going to be hard for you to go motivate yourself to fight a featherweight when you know Islam's there, he's got the title, and you know how close you could have been and what you could have done? It's going to be hard.
Nah, look, I want that fucking lightweight belt. So,
Alex, just over here.
No,
I
should have known the voice. Sorry, mate.
All good. Or on the strength, and you saying he wasn't maybe as strong as you expected. I am curious, where does he rank in terms of strongest opponents you faced? Because obviously you faced so many different divisions.
I don't know. It's probably still up there. But I mean, it's just funny. The narrative, everyone wanted to push this crazy narrative. I was like, I'm gonna fucking run with it. Let you think he's invincible, but it just would have been a so much better story if I won, right? So, I wish I could just sit there going, hey, this invincible man, you want to push out. I told you, but right now I'm not in that position. But we're close, and again, very winnable fight. I've got to watch the fight back. I don't know. Again, I'm my hardest critic. I always am. I fucking blow the water out. I win massive fights, and I still remember that one time I got hit. I still remember that, one time I didn't get something, or, what I mean? That's just how I am. I'm I'm very, very harsh on myself and hard on myself. So it'll be good to watch that fight back and just see how it is. Like, what's everyone's thought on that? Like, was it a close fight? Like, I don't know.
It was a very close fight.
Okay, so I've got to go watch that back. 3-2 either way. Yeah, I've got to watch that fight back. Fucking rematch. Let's go. Where are they?
So I guess on that, I know one of the narratives, especially like Islam said, look, I want to prove that this guy doesn't belong in the lightweight division, right? Obviously, it's just pre-fight talk, but I wonder, after having such a close fight, do you think you've established that you do belong in the lightweight division?
Like, obviously, he got me in positions and stuff like that. But again, some of those is more technique and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, it was more that. It wasn't power. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, I've got to watch the fight. But, yeah, I didn't feel like this freakishly power like type of thing. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's got that size advantage and things like that. That's gonna help him a little bit. And, you know, you might feel that little bit of that weight and like fatigue. I didn't get fatigue. Obviously, I come back stronger in the end anyway. But there is that weight advantage. But I mean, to say that I can't handle lightweight is just ridiculous. He's meant to just blow everyone out the water. He was meant to just, as soon as he grabbed me down, it was game over. I told you that wasn't going to happen. I told you I was going to do more. And, I told you I'll get back up. I told you that, he won't submit me and all that type of stuff. I was right. But I did say that I was going to come out with my hand raised, and we're very close. It was a very close fight. People maybe thought I won, but the judges didn't. So I'm very hard on myself right now.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
And Alex, is it to your right? Is it motivating, or does it sting a little bit more to lose that fight on points but finish on top?
Nah. Just losing, man. Like losing in general. I'm a winner. I try and win everything I can. You know what I mean? And I kill myself in the gym to prepare myself to get my hand raised. And I expected to be on top or be putting more hands on him and dominating the whole way through. So I'm not happy with just ending up on top.
And
I would have been happy with my hand raised.
And can you just put into words the support you've had from Australia this fight week and especially tonight?
That was incredible. Obviously, everyone was still, happy with the fight, and still, obviously give me the mad cheers, and that was, it was good. I was obviously trying to roll them up as well, have a bit of fun with it, and just remember I was here, so involve them as well, like let them know I'm hearing them and thank them, and try and put on a bit of a show for them. But it would have just been better getting my hand raised in front of them too. You know what I mean? So again, their support's been crazy. Look at the weigh-ins and the press conferences and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen much. We had to take us all the fighters backstage so we can open the curtains further back so we can fit more people in. And you know what I mean? It's so obviously it went beyond what people expected. So shout out to the Aussie fans for delivering.
G'day, Alex, over here, mate. Great performance. Over just here, mate. Hey. Look, obviously 145. How you going, mate? 145 defense is next, clearly, and then maybe the rematch with Islam. But if that doesn't line up for the title shot, are you willing to maybe jump into 155 and fight guys like, Dustin Poirier, Charles, Michael Chandler, these types?
Quick turnaround for the rematch? We'll see, man. Again, I need to watch the fight. I need to talk to some people. And again, right now, I just come out. I'm hard on myself. I don't know. I got to look and see what's happening. So, we'll see. But obviously, we got, when I go to featherweight, we know who it is. You know what I mean? And again, shout out for Yair Rodriguez. I think that's an exciting fight. So good on him.
And also, I think the great thing about this sport compared to, say, boxing is a loss doesn't always detract from your star power. So you come up short today a little bit, but I reckon your stock has risen even higher than it's ever been. So do you feel that? And just you've really proven that you really are even better than we thought you were.
Oh, man, it's again, that's everyone else's expectations, right? I expected to win. Obviously, people are proud of how that went, but I expected to go out there and win and dominate, and you know what I mean? And again, it was good. Obviously, still proud of myself. Still proved a lot of people wrong, right? But I mean, I didn't get my hand raised. So again, I'm going to be hard on myself. I watched the fight back, and maybe that'll make me feel a little bit better. But yeah, it sucks.
Going off.
Alex, just over here, man. I'm just wondering,
did you get a chance to say anything to Islam or his team afterwards in the back when you were in the back or anything?
Oh man, like we're both respectful dudes. I'm a respectful dude. I went over there, said, congratulated him. Obviously I think they really thought that I was going to be a walk in the park. So they were like, yeah, shocked faces. But I mean, again, like, you know, I expected them to be shocked. I expected to see his face like I did out there. And I just wish I got my hand raised, man.
Just last thing, Alex, to end it kind of on a high. The walkout was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, you know, covering combat sports. Were you able to embrace that moment for what it was, or were you so dialed in that?
No, like I've come to. If you remember me, the first time I was like fighting in Australia and all that type of stuff, I was always just. I'm the type of guy. I was just a competitor. Right now, I fucking love it all, mate. Like, you know what I mean? The build-ups, the entertainment side of thing, I get it. You know, I get it now. You know, I want the crowd to feel me. I want to feel the crowd. I fight best when I'm with that energy, when I'm a little emotional and stuff like that. You know, and you've seen that in some of my last fights to really fire myself up. I do my best work there. So it was good. I definitely felt them. Yeah, it just it could have been a moment, man. You know what I mean? Go there, imagine getting a big finish, prove them doubters wrong in Australia. Fuck, what a moment, you know. Fuck. It's still a good moment anyway. Again, the support's been incredible. Shout out to everyone that's here, that you know, supported the event, the pay-per-view, and shout out to everyone that was watching. And sorry to people that counted on me. Cheers.
There's your featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski, in pretty good spirits, and really no reason not to be. Acquitted himself quite well. Yeah, I didn't love some of the things he said there. Case, I got to be honest. If he wants to win the lightweight title, he has clearly shown that he is capable of beating anyone at 155. Then go do that. I got no problems if he's just like, hey, I'm done with featherweight. But if he's just gonna hold the belt and then come back, I don't know, man. How would you feel if he gets 2 more featherweight title defenses and then jumps back up? Are you okay with that?
And gets another title shot, or just
he just comes up and gets another immediate title shot.
I prefer what the UFC used to do with Anderson Silva, and when Anderson Silva had the belt at 85, he came up and fought Forrest Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a title shot. It was just I'm not sure what Forrest's ranking at the time, but I'm pretty confident it was still top 10 at the time.
Oh yeah, he was definitely still in the top 10.
Okay,
I think he had just lost the belt like 6 months earlier or something. It wasn't that long.
He was probably top 5 at the time then, at least. So I don't think that, personally for me, I don't think champions, if they want to go out of their weight class, they don't have to fight for the belt. They can just fight a Justin Gaethje, a Dustin Poirier, they're usually fight for the title, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I get you.
And as long as, I don't know how you do this, like in their contracts, like, hey, if you're going to go up, you have to defend your actual belt every 6 months or whatever. And as long as they kind of feel, because right now I think we kind of have a loosely 1 year. I think that's too far apart. I think it should be 6 months. And if you want to jump weight classes, you just have to contractually mandatory defend that belt every 6 months. Otherwise, please vacate and enjoy your new weight class. That's kind of my thing. But I know that's easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah, that's how I always just sort of prefer a vacation. Like I just leave it and go do the other thing. But I understand that's not how the world works. I sort of feel like you get one. If you want to do the double champ thing, you get one time. But if he just goes and beats Yair and then beats, you know, let's say Arnold Allen beats Max, and then it's like, all right, I want to challenge for the lightweight belt again. Then he's now in this world where he's beating featherweights to earn lightweight title shots, as opposed to guys like Beneil Dariush who are beating top 10 lightweights in 8 in a row or whatever. So if he does want to move back up to lightweight, I'd love to watch him fight any of those dudes. It'd be awesome. But I got to be honest, Casey. I want to see him fight Yair Rodriguez. I wanted to see it before this, frankly. And I had a real shit-eating Slack message after that fight where I was like, oh, man, really sucks that he didn't just fight the next dude at featherweight. That wouldn't have been fun at all, which was totally true at the time. It just so happens that he also delivered this incredible fight with Makhachev, so it's great. But like, if they had never done the lightweight thing and it was just, well, I know Yair didn't have a big long winning streak, but he's a top 3 guy and he's coming off a win over Brian Ortega. I choose you the same way other long reigning champions have. Based on how Yair and Volk look tonight, that fight might have been incredible. Like, Volk probably wins it. I would still pick him to beat Yair, but I got to say, I was saying it before Volk came up. I am really excited about this featherweight title defense now. And so I think this is a win for 145.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. We were talking on the pre-fight Q&A kind of saying what could happen in the co-main event that would kind of change your, I don't know, expectations for the eventual title fight, unification bout with Volkanovski. Did this fight fulfill those kind of requirements? Like, oh, something different happened. And I mean, I felt that way, but what do you feel?
Yeah, it wasn't what I thought I needed to see. Like when I said it before, I was like, I would like to see him really have takedown defense, because I think that will be a big deciding factor in that fight, because on the feet, Yair can compete with just about anybody. But Volk has that back pocket of, I can just take this down and Yair's not going to tap him. And I don't think that the submission finish off his back, it like makes me think, ooh, that's super dangerous. But the kicking game, the range Yair was working with, the violence, like Josh Emmett has a really hard head, but Yair hit the hell out of that man, dude. It hurt him a bunch and hurt him to the body. Again, I think Volk wins that fight, but a thing that fans don't seem to know or have forgotten, or maybe I'm just old Manny right now, is like, there's a reason we make them fight it. You know, there's a reason Makhachev and Volk had to fight, and we weren't like minus 400 favorite. Makhachev is clearly going to destroy him. You got to see how it plays out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like if we're just doing that, then we don't. And I want to see how it plays out. I've been wanting to see Volk beat other top featherweights instead of just beating Max over and over again. And I'll be honest, I was a little concerned when he started saying the rematch stuff, but I think that was in jest mostly. I mean, he'd take it if they offered it, but I think that's largely him having a laugh, and that we're going to get him down to Yair, which will be an awesome fight whenever that does come through.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? And if Volkanovski just steamrolls Yair and he steamrolls Arnold Allen or whoever's next, I don't know. We'll see what the landscape is then. Who knows?
Yeah,
because that means Islam would have a couple more title offenses too, or maybe Dariush is the champion.
Or Islam loses.
Or Dariush is champion. Then we have Dariush versus Volkanovski. You know, who the freak knows?
I really
you
don't
know,
want us to do
I
that,
know.
but,
Okay, no, you know what I'm trying to say.
Like if he's going to go back up, I just want to fight another lightweight to watch him fight Dustin Poirier or whatever.
Exactly.
It'll be awesome.
That's what I more want to see.
It'll be super fun. But yeah, I mean, and it is no guarantee that either man has a belt at the end of this year, frankly. Nope. I know that is an insane thing to say after watching that fight, but it is MMA. MMA is a crazy sport. I have always been fascinated by Beneil Dariush. I thought he was the hardest matchup for Makhachev. That might not be true now with what we just saw from Volk. But I got to say, I bet Dariush is looking at that fight and seeing a lot of things there, seeing some of the because early on, Makhachev got to his spots and Volk couldn't do anything about it. And late in the fourth, we still saw he couldn't do anything about it. But he was able to really not allow Makhachev to get to his wrist rides, to fend off 2-on-1s, fighting the hand in there, not letting the leg weave take over and kind of working those scramble positions. And all of that stuff Beneil Dariush can do. So be really, really interested to watch that fight. I'm really interested to watch Volkanovski make some defenses. And again, great performance from him. Volkanovski's 34. Like, he came to the sport late and he did not look in any regard diminished tonight. But at some point, Father Time does catch up to you. And he doesn't have many years left in his prime. So at any point in time, you know, some young dude like Yair Rodriguez or Arnold Allen could maybe just do the damn thing. And I would like to see them them do it because Volkanovski is putting together one of the greatest MMA careers that we've ever seen. Even with the loss tonight, one of the best fighters. I think he's probably made his way into the top 15 right now. Like if he retired tomorrow, Casey, how would you feel if like just offhandedly top 15? Is he higher? Is he lower for you?
Anyway, in terms of just all-time MMA
All-time
greats?
greatness. Yeah.
Oh, for
I'm not talking
Volkanovski?
about best. Best is very different because I think
Yeah.
he's a top 5 best fighter of all time. But greatness is accomplishments. Like, you know, best is he's showing us some of the best martial arts we've ever seen, but he doesn't have the total accomplishments that a lot of other people in the sport do because his career's not over. He's still got many years left in it, theoretically, hopefully.
Top 15 without a doubt. Top 10 if he gets a big main event victory in Australia. If he wins this fight, yeah, that's. I think Mike Bond was when he was asking David Shaw about Stipe and White. Like, imagine if Stipe had all his title defenses in Cleveland. We're gonna look at
They really
Stipe,
should have.
We're gonna look at Stipe different. We just are. He would just be different. Like that's almost saying if Conor never had those Dublin cards or those big MSG cards, like you need those big crowds. And Volkanovski, I just don't see I don't feel Volkanovski is a star, but when I acknowledge when he walked out in Perth and the way the Perth fans looked at him, he felt like a star. I was like, oh, I'm wrong. He is a star.
Absolutely.
And
it's definitely a star there.
Yeah. And
for sure.
For sure. And like Yair, I think, is a star, but you couldn't tell tonight. Let's have him fight. You know, I don't know. Actually, oh my God. I was like, Moreno and Yair on the same card in Mexico City or whatever. Who knows? Or
I think you got to do it in Mexico City, and I know that's insane.
The elevation,
but
everyone's scared of it.
Well, honestly, I think the elevation just really helps Alexander Volkanovski. That's like a trademark of him. But you know, I think this narrative is going to be lost in this, and that's okay. It's not one of the most important things coming out of this, but seeing a ton of people give Volkanovski credit for this. Absolutely, you should. That is an incredible performance against a bigger man, a guy who is heavily favored. I think that there's some short shrift being given to one, how incredibly badass it is just to Islam didn't have to choose this fight. Mm-hmm. He picked it, and he picked doing it in Perth, and that crowd was insane tonight, Casey.
I thought that was going. I thought that was going to come back to hurt Islam in close rounds. When those judges had close rounds, I thought like
really could have.
That's just, fights, kicks and punches that are blocked in reality. The fans don't think they're blocked, so the judges go, "Oh, I guess that kick landed." You know what? That's a close round. I'm going to give it to the hometown guy, even though the judges aren't from Perth. Having 20,000 people screaming that you're wrong can sway close rounds. So I was surprised, and I'm glad you mentioned that with Islam because I wanted to talk about that earlier. Like pre-fight, just for lack of a better word, the balls of Islam to say, yeah, I want that guy in his hometown. There wasn't enough talked about that. I was like, that's crazy. That is just crazy. No one says that. And it was almost foolish, but it paid off though. It was foolish, honestly.
It was foolish, but it made this event really big because this was honestly we haven't talked about it enough. The crowd, I thought that Brazil crowd at 283 was going to be this. And it ended up being the super weird thing, which is even more awkward because it's Brazil. The Aussies, they turned out in aggressive stand. It was awesome. The cheer for everybody, they had a ton of hometown fighters on the card, obviously. And the way that when a down under hit and the crowd erupts and is singing the whole song, you can hear however many thousands of people are just singing Men at Work while Volk is walking to the cage. This is the first time I was like, I may have underestimated how big this is. And that could be really helpful for Volkanovski coming into this fight. I don't know if it was or not, frankly. I don't really know if that spurred him on to greater heights or what, but it was a scene for sure. For sure.
Coming into the card, our pre-fight Q&A, we talked about who has the most to lose with a loss on the main card, and we all thought it was Josh Emmett. I feel we were right.
Oh, we were definitely right. We were definitely right. And he lost it, and it's unfortunate. I think that this is right for Josh Emmett, though, right? Like I said it earlier, it's hard. It's been hard for me to judge him as a fighter because he's certainly not a bad fighter. He's such a stripped down fighter. He doesn't do a lot. He has some weapons that he relies on very heavily, and he's very good with them, and that has kind of carried him through. But this is sort of where that kind of a fighter in my head should peak. Like, if he catches the right breaks, he might fight for a belt. He's not going to win one. And in this case, it's an interim belt. But like, I think that this is okay. He had his moment to, it's trite to make life fair, and he couldn't do it. And I don't think he would have ever beaten Yair Rodriguez, but certainly not tonight. The way Yair looked, that was ass whooping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Casey, I want to, because I'd love to make the comments even angrier, because they're super angry right now, and I love it. Be fans. Do what you got to do. How do you think Khabib would have done instead of Islam? If Khabib doesn't retire, he's still the dude. Do we think he does better? Do we think he does worse? Do you have any thoughts, I guess, actually?
I want to say this. I think the one thing I noticed about Islam tonight is in his wrestling style is that the game is catching up.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The game is catching up on their style of wrestling because they have the dominant style of grappling, the dominant style of wrestling in high level mixed martial arts right now. So all these other camps, the highest level camps, are catching up, and that's so in a sense. What won the fight tonight for Islam was actually the striking.
Definitely won the fight for him easily.
So
well, maybe not easily. Both things won. If he didn't have either, if he didn't have both, he loses. But the striking is really, I think that's more. If that makes sense.
And it wasn't in the sense that Islam underestimated Volkanovski's wrestling. It's like I said, the game is caught up. Not quite caught up to them, but they're catching up.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like
that makes sense.
Say Valentina. Like I feel like each fight, each upcoming female flyweight is getting a little bit closer to beating her. So she needs to evolve, and I think Islam evolved with the striking enough.
I firmly agree, and we have a champion here, and I believe, though I can't say this with absolute certainty until the face drops, but I believe we're looking at interim featherweight champion, and we are. Interim featherweight champion Yair Rodriguez is here to talk. Let's listen in.
Well, Yair, right in front, right here. I know you want the undisputed belt, and that's the interim belt right there in front of you. But I guess what are the emotions now that you are another Mexican champion up there on stage?
Even though I believe that I could do this in one stage of my life, it's almost like unbelievable at the same time. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to explain. That I finally get to carry this belt around and call myself a champion. It's been a long journey. I was talking to my coaches earlier on, and they say, okay, it's been a long time. It's been already 10 years since we started working, and this feels surrealistic. But I'm really happy. I'm super happy that I can have my family here with me for this special moment, and in this special land. That I always wanted to come here to Australia. The public was so amazing. The crowd was perfect, and the people has been so nice to me and my family, and I can't wait to come back here.
You said at Media Day there were a lot of bumps in the road just to get here to Australia. So given everything that happened leading up to this, where does this rank in terms of your career wins?
Can you repeat the question?
Given everything that you went through to get here to Australia, you had to fly, you had to stay in, I think it was Bali, you said, for a long time, the other side of the world. Where does this just rank in terms of just the whole journey and everything in your career?
Well, it's just like
Looks like we might have some technical difficulties.
I
Can you hear
was
me, Jed?
literally just messaging you if our stream died. So it appears we have technical difficulties. It's a great image. Love that up there while we try and get Yair Rodriguez back. Sometimes when the internet has to go around the world, but we're back. Let's go.
I'm gonna keep pushing to accomplish more goals into this company, into my dream, and making my family, my country, and my friends feel proud of me.
And looking at this fight against Josh, did this play out as you thought? He seemed to land a couple hard punches in the first, and then you came out very aggressive in the second round.
Yeah, I worked with my coaches the same strategy as you saw in the fight. I worked with my training partners. We knew he was going to come hard. We knew he was going to move around and then try and sit down and land those hard punches. We talk about it in the interviews. He's so explosive. He's aggressive and quick. I couldn't see that punch, coming towards me, and all of a sudden I was out for a second, And in the second round, it wasn't the first round when I hit him with the lever kick, and I saw him kind of like slowly start like slowing down. I could see him like kind of struggling to the fight. I could land a couple good punches. He had a good cut in his face, and I was like, okay, just be relaxed and you'll get it. Don't get desperate. And then he landed that good punch, and coming out in that second round, I was saying to myself, you stay positive, you will get it. Don't get desperate, and everything is gonna be there. You just believe in yourself, and I could get the W.
We saw your coach Izzy Martinez cage side after you got the belt, and he has long been saying that you're going to get the UFC championship at some point. So what was it like to finally go back there and see him with that championship?
I told him, hey, bro, it's been a long time, right? It should took me less time than this. It's like, no, everything is a journey. Everything is a journey, And if you're in this point in your career right now, it's because he had to be like that. So, for everybody it's different. For me, it was this way. And, also Coach Mike and Coach Easy, they've been putting a lot of work into this, and many, many other people there, I don't know, here, they've been putting a lot of effort and work into making me who I am right now as an athlete and as a person. And I can thank all the people enough for all those days of hard work.
And finally, I have to ask about Alex Volkanovski's performance in the main event. It was obviously a very close fight. He says he wants to drop. Of course, he wants to drop back down, unify the belts. At what point do you start, looking at that fight down the road and breaking down how to match up with Alex?
Yeah, I was looking at the fight. I couldn't really see that much of the fight. It was how it was going in between Islam and him, but it was a pretty good fight. As I could see, it's a pretty close fight. Talking about his fight against me, I think he's quick. I think he's explosive, and he has a pretty good wrestling and jiu-jitsu defense. So I think the fight in between him and I will like stay standing up. So it will be like more of a striking fight. And everything comes down to who does it better in the day, who does a better strategy, and who's able to maintain the strategy if it's working, and able to adjust if it's not working. And I can see much about anything. It's just a matter of who does it better that day.
Yeah. Tonight was the first time Alex has lost in the UFC, and in over 10 years. When you guys fight, do you think that's going to have a more motivated version of him, or do you think maybe you're catching him at the perfect time now? Because maybe, who knows, where his confidence will be at, where his mindset will be at, all those things.
Bro, he's fighting for the 155-pound division against Islam Makhachev. He's not fighting like a nobody. Islam is tough. It's really tough. We have seen the Russian guys fighting in this company. They're super tough. And, he was able to go in there not only 5 rounds, but demonstrate that he's capable of also winning. Because the fight was pretty close. It was 3 rounds to 2. So I think he did a pretty good job. I just think the fight between him and I will be as it has to be. He will be there 100%. I don't see why not, and I'll be there 100% as well. So you guys will have a pretty good fight.
Do you think you'll have to come back here and do the unifier here? Or we had Dave Shaw, the UFC executive, up there. I asked him about maybe doing it in Mexico, and he didn't dismiss it. So would that be your perfect world?
Yeah, that would be perfect. I talked to Alexander Volkanovski in the past in Dallas. No, not that much with them, but with his manager. And he asked me, "Will you be able to go to Australia? Will you go to Australia?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? Yeah, of course I'll go." So I stick to my world, and I came here, won the interim title, and now I want to ask the UFC to take this belt, this championship fight, to Mexico City in September, whenever they opening the UFC Performance Institute, so we can do it there.
I don't know if you saw Alex's walkout tonight and how crazy that was, but is that something you dream of like what that could be like for you in Mexico?
I didn't really see him. I was busy doing the interviews and some pictures and stuff. And I wasn't able to see it, but I'm sure I have no doubt that it was crazy for him. All the people here they're big fans, and they are really supportive of their people, and I'm sure it was crazy for sure.
You've had some bumps in the road on this journey, the losses to Edgar Holloway. Was there any point that you thought like you might not get to this crowning moment that you're at now?
Yeah, those are the moments that I thought the most, and those are like the demons that I talk in the interviews that you have to fight every single day of your life. The what ifs. What if I can't? What if I don't? Or what if this happens? Or what if, and some of those things, they never became true, So the only thing that you can do is live your life the best way possible, avoiding the most mistakes you can and doing the best you can, and then stop thinking that much. Just live. And with that said, I've been learning to fight my demons every single day and winning over them every time that I think of situations like that.
And who's been the most instrumental in this journey for you?
Who?
Who's been probably the most motivating? Who's motivated you the most? Perhaps a coach, a family member to get you to this moment?
It's just a mix of everybody. I can mention a single person, but of course my mom. My mom has my heart. She's a special part of my life. My brother as well, my little sister. My dad is a special part of my life, of course. But those two guys back there looking at me right now, my coaches, they've been there for me regardless of my craziness, of what I decide to do. They've been there for me for many years and putting a lot of trust and effort into this to become true. And I can thank them enough because they have seen me in my worst, they have seen me in my best, and they know me. They know me like no many other people knows me, and have them here right now is amazing. I can thank my management team enough. I can thank my friend Marco enough for helping me out to get here, and it's just a mix of everybody. All my people back there at home. It's everybody. You have to kind of absorb the best energy from everybody and put the negative away. My friends, I know I'm rooting for me there. They were just calling me moments ago and look at the phone and they were just calling me, because they want to talk to me, and I'm sure they want to congratulate me and say, I'm sure what they're going to say. I'm sure they're going to say, we knew you're going to become a champion one day. We told you this, we talk about it. And it's just been a long journey, of many, many people believing in me, but especially myself.
And can you talk about the love that Australia has had for you during this fight? They've really adopted and taken you in. When you walked out, Australia went wild for you. Have you felt that love throughout fight week?
If I have felt that before?
Just had the love that Australia has for you. They've really kind of adopted you this fight week.
Yeah, that's that was crazy, because I was probably one of the contenders for the 145 title itself, and they knew it, and they even like that they were able to applaud me and cheer for me, and many people walk towards me in the street and ask me for pictures, and they didn't stop telling me how much good and luck they wish me, and I really love to be here, and not only that, I have friends from here that there's been a long time I didn't see. I was really happy to see them, and it's amazing. It's amazing to be here. This is the first experience that I have flying this long, and having my family here just makes it so special.
Thanks, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just towards right at the end there, after Josh submitted, you said something to him, and I was just wondering what you said to him.
Yeah. So this is a really important moment for us, right? Like I already said. And when I finished the triangle, I could see in his expression the desperation of like, fuck, I lose. I lose. It's like he saw his opportunity go away. But I just want to say to him, no. I told him, no. Hey, no, stop. Like, stop that thinking that you have right now. You're a warrior. You will overcome this. You got this. So the only thing that I can say to him, you're a warrior, brother. We find the way to wake up, to stand up every time we fall into the ground. And I'm sure you will do that. So stay strong. And I'm sure we'll see each other in the future again. So just keep being strong, brother.
What sort of bond do you make with someone when you're in the cage fighting them, even if you don't like them? It's a very unique situation. And how do you feel towards a person once you've been in that situation with them?
Can you repeat the question?
Being in the octagon fighting someone is a very unique, it's actually quite intimate situation. So what can you say to the bond you build with someone once you've fought them?
I mean, there is not much that it can be said, only wishing the guy the best. Wishing everybody, your opponent, the best. I'm the guy that likes to attack my opponents in many ways. Only when I'm fighting, I like to make this sport as clean as possible out and in the cage. We can get to any direction you want. It's gonna be up to you how far you want to take it with me, because I'm able to do so as well. But I like to being easy on my opponents, friendly, and whenever I have to talk is inside the cage and doing my job, and that's it. I don't see why talking or saying that much.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you. Hell yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of you.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That is UFC interim featherweight champion Yair Rodriguez. Best performance of his career, Casey? We're willing to say that?
Oh yeah. No doubt.
I'm definitely going to say it, but I don't know.
I was just
maybe you really like the way he killed BJ Penn all those years ago. So tremendous performance. He will fight Alexander Volkanovski at some point later this year. If it's in Mexico City, that would be pretty sick. If they do that and Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval, sign me up for that fight card right now. If we're just doing that in Mexico City, let's friggin' go. And I hate Mexico City cards. I hate elevated cards. I think they're bad, but I can deal with it for that one. And that just leaves one left, Case.
Yeah, just have them fight down the street. Have them fight at the Crypto.com venue down here, and that's come on. I live in Los Angeles. That's
Casey, our video is down. Video down, man down.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
I heard a noise that sounded like the battery died. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, I thought someone's. Can you message Jose? Tell him that.
Yeah,
his video is down.
I'll send the message out. You can throw up the technical difficulties.
Yeah. Hold on, my light went out. There we go.
That is. Hopefully, Islam Makhachev is not coming up. Though, judging by the comments, most people won't even be upset a lot of people are very, very big fans of Alexander Volkanovski and believe he should be the lightweight champion of the world.
So they're not arguing about the 4-1 versus 3-2. They're saying Volkanovski without a doubt won that fight.
No half measures, which I respect immensely about these people. It is not. That was a close fight, but I think Volk took it. You guys are bums. Volk clearly won. Makhachev was scared and tired. Makhachev was holding on for dear life in the fourth round.
The first 23 minutes of a fight never count. You only count the last 90 seconds of a fight. We all know that. First 23 minutes of
No, the last two rounds, because that fourth round was a Volk win. You know, he was the danger in that. And I respect the hell out of it. If you're gonna have a take, buddy, have a take. Commit to it all the way. And we've got a lot of people doing that. And I love the passion. I love the energy. I don't know if Jose got my message, but
I
really,
messaged him too.
Are you firing him one as well? Because if not, or if this is an unsolvable problem, that will be incredibly unfortunate for us. And then we can go to the post show coming up. But do you want? What is this? What Tapology page do you have up now?
What is going on? Oh, he's he's trying to reconnect. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So bear with us, folks. We're having some technical difficulties with our man on the scene, Jose Young.
Jose is literally on the other side of the earth right now from
literally.
where we are. So, yeah.
Literally on the opposite side of the world. But we're back, and we didn't miss a thing because Jose is a professional. And now we just wait for the lightweight champion. And do we think he in his post-fight interview was a little cagey? Let's be honest. He was tired. He lost that fifth round. And if these were 7-round fights, Alexander Volkanovski may well be the lightweight champion of the world. Because he clearly had more energy at the end of that 25 minutes.
Wait, and that Volkanovski is going to have to live a long time with that regret. The fact that it seems like Islam, he uses energy correctly. So basically, when that fight ends, you should be just done. And the fact that Volkanovski kind of, oh man, I can keep going. Like I conserved too much energy to the fifth round. Like he basically kind of admitted that I shouldn't have been more aggressive. And I was talking about the actual fight itself. I was thinking that a lot of times during the fight is like we kind of said going into the fight that you have to have that kind of chaos card a bit to beat Islam. And when Volk did kind of pull that chaos card out a bit, I felt he was successful for the most part. Because he wasn't. Yeah, for the most part, I would say so. And I think it wasn't until the fight was almost over when Volk kind of almost got more confident in himself. More confident. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm not sure it was. I'm not sure it was confident so much as he felt compelled to lead, to come after it. And I would have been really interested if he did it sooner. He clearly had the gas to kind of put the pedal down a lot more.
He almost fought better once he realized he was behind.
He did.
He fought better. Yeah, I felt.
And it's also like the first time we've literally seen him behind in his entire career, basically. And that is always interesting to watch because we saw Alex Pereira do that against Izzy when the chips are down and you have to drop it all out there. It makes you a very dangerous fighter, more dangerous than he had been the whole fight. I think it also is dangerous itself, though, which is why you don't just kind of do that unless you are Justin Gaethje like that, and that's your whole MO. Because up until the last 90 seconds, Volk was losing the fifth round. He kept running in, and he would land some shots, but he was eating clean counters until he catches Makhachev with that right uppercut, right shovel hook, whatever it was, that sat him down, and then Makhachev's done.
It was a little shovel. I think it was a right hook that actually hit him. It looked like Islam was kind of changing levels and kind of hit him right in that kind of spot again. Right,
where kind of tagged him while Islam's ducking into it. Yeah, and that could have made all the difference in the fight if something earlier had gone. but also, if he's doing that earlier, maybe Islam has more success with reactive doubles and just gets backpacks forever. Like it's hard to play the what if game in that regard, but it definitely would have been interesting because, to your point, I think as Volk said, he left a little bit out there. He had more to give, and that's something he'll have to come to terms with and see if he wants to adjust or not. Because again, he won 2 rounds from a guy who has been as dominant as is possible to be in this sport when nobody else has landed. The most strikes Makhachev had landed on him before then was 17 or 18 in a fight, and it was Charles Oliveira. Volk tripled that up. So maybe you don't change too many things if they do end up running it back, but maybe you do. I don't know. But I don't know when or if we'll get it. Is the other part of that,
How does this fight compare to, say, when Izzy attempted greatness when he went to fight Jan Blachowicz at the apex of all places? How does what? I know they're completely different fights, but like right now, like when Izzy lost to Jan, we were kind of okay. Go back to
also people thought and argued very strongly that Izzy beat Jan the same way they're doing with Volk right now.
Yeah.
So they're not completely different fights.
Yeah. You're right. But both of them were actually. It's weird because I'm trying to think if Jan versus Izzy was in Australia, was in like I just wonder how different our emotions or feelings would have been toward that fight. I don't know. It's just it's a lot of what ifs.
I was pretty pumped on that fight. I remember being very excited about that fight and being really impressed with Jan Blachowicz because I thought he delivered an unbelievable performance in that.
It was because Izzy was, I'm pretty sure, was the favorite.
Definitely was the favorite.
Yeah,
he was not as big as Islam was here, but he was like minus 280 or something, I think.
Yeah, so coming to that fight it had a very different feel because the middleweight champ going up in weight was seen as the favorite, while this time the actually heavier guy was seen as the significant favorite. So I guess our expectations going into the fight were very different. So,
yeah, very,
it's
very
hard. It's kind of hard to compare the two, but yeah.
It is also at the. Obviously, if Izzy had won that at the time, he probably jumps right to the top pound for pound fighter in the sport, winning the second belt or whatever. So there's still some of the same narratives, but there's some pretty clear differences in how that was. But the end result is a little bit the same. I think the biggest difference, honestly, between that fight and this one is just the respect that Jan doesn't get versus the amount of respect that people already inherently have for Makhachev. So it was looked as, it was not a moral victory for definitively coming out of that Izzy almost beat the guy who became the light heavyweight champ or was the light heavyweight champion. It was okay. Well, sure, I guess he's not that good. He's too small to do this. Whereas overwhelmingly the sentiment here is Volk's the top pound for pound fighter in the world. He gave Makhachev hell, and many people are saying he beat him. So that narrative, the narrative coming out of it is very, very different in that regard.
Yeah, it's funny. There was no narrative about even Volkanovski potentially being a double champ. That was even talked about, the whole double champ thing. We kind of that was just secondary. It was about being pound for pound the best.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a cooler title than double champ, being the actual best fighter in the world, which may still be.
Oh, I don't want to give away our rankings, but I'm seeing our rankings then.
Oh, are you looking at our rankings, or have
our rankings
followed suit?
Our rankings, yeah. Some people
are not going to.
Yeah, some people are on board with me as far as the number one pound for pound. I can't reveal it yet.
I understand the argument, and I accept it. I don't think I'm going to follow suit.
My take is this is a bit of an extreme. If Demetrius Johnson went to heavyweight and fought Francis Ngannou and fought a competitive 5 rounds, Demetrius Johnson is the better pound for pound fighter.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I know I'm taking the extreme of it, but yeah.
I think by almost every traditional definition of pound for pound, Alexander Volkanovski is the top pound for pound fighter in the world right now. Any way that normally breaks out, I think that's pretty obvious to me. The only person that like I think has an argument that people will never give credit for is Francis Ngannou.
Agreed.
Because a lot of pound for pound for me is simply beating your contemporaries. Results matter, and beating the guys who are the best along with you should be a reflection of pound for pound. And say what you want, Francis Ngannou has more top 5, top 10 wins in his weight class than everybody but like Izzy and Volk and Usman, but also Izzy and Usman just lost. So, but Makhachev is sort of different. And that was always a weird part of this coming in. I had Makhachev ranked my top pound for pound fighter. I was, and I admitted that was like pretty aggressively me just sort of porting Khabib onto him. Be like, they're the same guy. I'm just going to give Makhachev credit for Khabib because why not? And because it makes this fight more fun and interesting, etc. But like by normal definitions of pound for pound, you probably shouldn't have Islam Makhachev as like the top dude. Certainly not over Volkanovski after a very, very competitive fight.
Let me just put a little note here. Tell our users, our listeners, that we are still waiting for Islam Makhachev to show up.
We are still waiting for lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. He's got to catch his breath. He's very tired after that fight. But I suspect he'll be along pretty soon, and that'll wrap it up. And then afterwards, right here on this same YouTube channel, there will be a post show. You, Casey, me, Mike Heck, I think is set to join. Who else is set to join us in the post show?
Oh, I think you know what? Anyone that feels like waking up and calling in. That's about it.
I love that. And you guys can keep your strong arguments going in the comments. We may answer some of those on the post show, or at least reference them, because this was a great night of fights, man. I was not super high on this card coming in. The main event was obviously a good fight on paper. I think, more down on it than anyone else. It far exceeded my expectations. The co-main event was great, and the rest of it was just good. Like, there was some wackiness, some weirdness. The Elvis Brenner beating Zubair Tukhugov, Zod. But now we have the UFC lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev. He is arrived, and he's ready to talk to us. So let's listen in.
Well, Islam, obviously a very hard-fought victory. We can see the bumps and bruises on your eyes right there. So what are the emotions and the assessment of your performance now that it's over?
Doesn't matter how I won today, and now I'm not just champion, I'm best fighter in the world, and I am very happy.
Alex,
now people are gonna call me not just champ, best fighter in the world. This is my dream, and doesn't matter how I won, I'm very happy.
Alex was in here, and he said he might have underestimated your striking, but he thinks you might have also underestimated his wrestling. So when you were in there wrestling with him, was he better than you thought?
Honestly, I don't have planned before the fight wrestle all 5 rounds, because I know he's short. I have reach longer than him. That's why I planning to try to, and I told all media I'm gonna try to knock him out. I landed many good punch, good knees, but this guy is so strong. And how he's strong? Because he's a best fighter in the world before, not now, before.
Were you talking back to him in there too? He said he was talking with you a lot when he had your back and when he was pushing you up against the fence.
He told, hey, let's do something. But I told him, hey, you grappler a lot. You say you're wrestling grappler improve. Let's do something. Move if you can.
What did you make of the fans in attendance? We couldn't really hear when they read the judges' scorecards when you entered. They obviously weren't in favor of you, but they were especially loud here in Australia.
But of course, the fans all waiting. I told when you remember when the official win, I told them, "Hey guys, sorry, but you guys all gonna upset," and they just upset. Now they don't have best fighter in the world.
And what do you want your next few fights to look like? Because obviously you were chasing this title, and then after the title, you're chasing number one pound for pound. What else is there to chase for you? Who else would you like to fight?
You know, now I'm best fighter, champion. Della, I waiting. Call me.
And we saw a video of you on FaceTime with Habib. What did he tell you?
He told he's so nervous and he said, "Why you don't do this? He said, if you come to and you will, if you will was my corner, I can do this, but you didn't come."
And we also saw a video of you and Charles backstage. What did you guys tell each other?
Yeah, Charles have good fight. I think this announced or not, official or not, I don't know. But if you see, if he beat Benil, if UFC want to make this fight, I will be ready. You know, it was hard fight with Volkanovski because many things. I come from other country, like more than 13,000 kilometers from my country. I come with team and time is changed and we come to the arena early morning, you know, many things. But I don't prepare myself for easy fight. We fight for the, you know, not belt. We fight who is gonna be best fighter in the world. That's why it was hard fight.
Then last one for me. At the end of the fight, he was on top of you. We haven't really seen many fighters on top of you punching you. Was that maybe were you tired or did he catch you off guard? Was his wrestling better?
Honestly, last round he landed good punch and I don't know. I just go down like and in on my mind, I think I won 4 or 3 rounds and just I don't want to do some like mistake. That's why I played a little bit there.
Салам алейкум.
Алейкум.
Поздравляю с победой. Если я не ошибаюсь, Хабиб сказал о том, что когда ты приедешь в Дагестан, вы поработаете над ошибками. Вот сейчас на холодную голову, какие ошибки ты, может быть, выявишь в своей игре, и что бы ты сделал по-другому, что ли?
Ну, знаешь, там много таких маленьких ошибок. Может, я ему дал чуть поработать в стойке, и у него такая необычная стойка, необычные там удары, не просто так же. Все просто сейчас такое обсуждение идет боя, как будто там все ожидали от меня просто легкой победы, как до этого, и бой получился не таким легким, и начались эти обсуждения. Но это же не с улицы, пацан, это лучший боец в мире был. Из-за этого такой тяжелый бой. И я полностью согласен с решением, я доволен, я от этого боя получу очень большую пользу.
Вот в Абу-Даби, когда ты дрался, у тебя на восстановление после взвешивания было около 30 часов. То есть в пятницу утром взвесился, в субботу вечером бой. Здесь получилось так, что в субботу утром взвесился, в воскресенье утром бой. Будешь ли ты в дальнейшем соглашаться на такие поединки вот с таким суточным интервалом?
Если честно, мы этот нюанс должны учесть, потому что, ну, если ты всю жизнь так восстанавливался, как, понял, утром взвесился, на следующий день вечером бой, а я здесь утром взвесился, и на следующее утро я уже был на арене. Вообще, это, у меня хоть чуть было время, последний бой. Тухугов приехал в 3 часа утра на арену. Ну, это я не знаю. Первый раз у него в жизни тоже так. Как человек после тяжелой весогонки, ну, как вообще спать лечь и в 3 часа утра на арену приехать? Очень тяжело.
Ислам, приветствую, с победой.
Спасибо.
Вот ты говоришь, что все ожидали от тебя легкого боя, ну, что ты легко выиграешь, но ты же сам говорил, что ты победишь легко Волконовски. Не пожалел ли ты с тех пор об этих словах, что... Вот...
Что жалеть? Я честно я вам скажу, я знал, что это не будет легкая прогулка, потому что посмотрите его бои, он настоящий чемпион, он дерется до конца, до последней секунды. Как бы бой ни шел, он всегда прет. Я же его бои тоже смотрел, и я настраивался на тяжелый бой. И знаешь, так получилось, что тяжело бой пошел, и сейчас эти обсуждения, ну, ничего страшного. Я показал, что и в стойке я могу драться. Все ждали от меня борьбу, что я буду только так с ним бороться. Ну, я решил попробовать и в стойке себя.
А удивился ли ты, когда в 5-м раунде Волконовский сам попытался перевести тебя в борьбу?
Но он все раунды какие-то действия делал, пытался повалить. Ну, видно, боролся пацан.
Islam. Apologies if you just answered this in Russian, but when Alex was in here, he said that he had heard from someone that you told your corner that you thought you lost and that you wanted a rematch with him. Is that true?
Who say I'm lost?
Alex said that he had heard you told a member of your team that you thought you lost and that you want to rematch him.
No, this is not true. I don't say that I'm lost. I know, like, in my mind, when fight is finished, I know minimum I want 3 rounds. I don't say I'm lose nothing.
How big of a learning experience is tonight for you? Going the 5 rounds, getting hurt, overcoming adversity, just all these things you can take away moving forward.
This is my first 5 round. It was crazy and big experience for me, and I'm very happy because fighters need to know like some hard fight, because from the fight, like easy fight, from like 1 or 2 rounds you not improve a lot, but from the 5 rounds I'm sure I improve a lot.
Would you be down for a rematch with Alex at some point? He has to do his fight with Yair, but if he, gets some wins and you're still the champion, would you want to do this again?
I'm never choose the opponent. When Dana call me, I will be ready.
What did you say to Craig Jones in the
I told him, hey, why you don't teach him like escape from the triangle from the back?
Ideally, when would you want to fight again? How many more times do you want to fight
I
this year?
just say I waiting for the call. I'm a champion, best fighter in the world. Just waiting. I never choose opponent. Give me real contender.
Do you think Alex is still the second best fighter in the world now, behind you?
He's gonna be second now.
Thank you.
Ислам, поздравляю с победой.
Спасибо.
Скажи, а Хабиба не хватало сегодня в углу? Вот если честно.
Смотри, он позвонил и говорит сразу, когда спину забрал, почему не попытался наверх перейти. И я вот сейчас подумал, еще Волконовский уходил на эту сторону, почему я не подумал? Ну, такие подсказки нужны. 100% роль Хабиба в углу, она неоценима. Это человек, который знает много вещей.
Он не сказал, что мол, на следующем бою я буду в твоем.
К сожалению, не сказал.
Если не секрет, с каким весом ты сегодня на бой выходил? Он был меньше, чем обычно, из-за того, что на полдня меньше восстанавливался?
Ну да, был меньше на пару килограмм. И... Ну, я думаю, даже видно было. Я утром встал и смотрю на тело, думаю, не так, еще до конца не восстановился. Но знаешь, это сейчас как будто я же выиграл, я не отмазываюсь, ничего. Ну, это играет большую роль. Для меня в плане восстановления, чем больше ты времени проводишь на восстановление, тем лучше.
Спасибо.
Islam. I just wanted to say, you mentioned all fight week about wanting to knock Alex out. Is there a reason that you've wanted to showcase your striking as much?
I always believe my striking. I have good skills. I have like good coaches in my team, Coach Javier, Coach Muhammad, and all my corners. They're best in the world. I know my skills. That's why I try to knock him out, but this guy is so strong. I landed many good punches, many good knees, but he still fighting, I give him like big cut, but this guy is a real champion.
And do you hear, the talk of Khabib's protege? Do you hear that, and do you feel like that this fight has helped you separate yourself from Khabib and to be on your own path?
People always say this because we're always training together, and I want to be, but I think Khabib is not just best fighter, not just champion. He's I don't know. For me, it's best guy in the world.
Islam. Sorry, just one more right here. There are some people out there who do feel Alex won this fight, including Nate Diaz, who tweeted, "Yeah, right, Islam got his ass whooped after the decision." What would you say to Nate and anyone else who thought you lost tonight?
Honestly, I don't want to talk about this guy. He's I don't know what he said. Maybe he smoked something and watched the fight.
Islam, one more from you. In a couple weeks from now, John Jones will be returning at heavyweight, and he was the #1 pound-for-pound fighter before he went on his break. If he wins the heavyweight championship of the world, it will be a conversation between you and him for #1. So why do you think you would deserve the #1 spot over him if he wins the heavyweight title?
Because you know why? John Jones is a great fighter, of course. He's the best, but last time he won like split decision, or he have always hard fight, but I don't know. I don't think after this fight he's gonna be best, because I not just why I am best right now, because I beat best fighter in the world. That's why I think I more deserve this. And if somebody want to be best, I'm ready, coming.
Ислам, во время поединка не было мысли, как его полулегковесы вывозят, то есть такой напор и так далее. И как тебе кажется, кроме тебя легкий вот дивизион вынесет ли Волконовский?
Честно сказать, это будет тяжелым испытанием для каждого бойца. У него есть много пробелов там в борьбе где-то, он до конца дерется, не ломается, как бы бой не пошел, как бы удар не пропустил. Я по ходу боя, я чувствовал, что я попадал, и я в некоторых моментах думал, он, наверное, на ногах сейчас не будет стоять. Но он стоит, так же идет. Знаешь, это такой крепкий орешек, и таких мало, я думаю, в этой организации.
Ислам, а вообще, как часто ты в своей жизни сталкивался с бойцами, которых ты не мог ни задушить, ни болевой сделать? На мой взгляд, сегодня в Волконовске он очень хорошо оборонялся.
Да, очень хорошо оборонялся. Но бывали такие тяжелые бои. Я не знаю, люди не могут не согласиться. Это тяжелые бои нужны. Я вот последнее время, сколько я раундов провел, там за 5-6 боев, я, наверное, мало раундов провел. Я тренируюсь, выхожу туда, получается, задушил кого-то, подрался 5-10 минут и все. А вот когда по-любому тебе вот такой бой принесет огромную пользу в карьере, чем ты провел там 2 боя легких. Ты там много нюансов даже не понял. А здесь я понял, в каких моментах, где надо план изменить, где надо там что-то поменять. И я этот бой еще много раз посмотрю и разберу ошибки свои.
А он потряс тебя сегодня? Потому что со стороны казалось, что где-то 2 таких момента было.
Знаешь, потряс, чтобы он меня там ушатал, такого не было. А вот чтобы хорошо попал, в 5-м раунде я почувствовал, вот где-то в районе сзади уха он хорошо попал. И не было, что я вот так потерял там его из виду, но это был хороший удар. И чем тяжелее эта победа, тем она слаще, 100%.
А во 2-м раунде такого не было, то есть? Потому что
не было, ни в каком раунде не было, что он меня ушатал, что я там потерял его из виду или там поплыл.
А ты помнишь, вот в 3-м раунде эпизод, как раз вот с зала выглядело так, как будто бы он тебя потряс, и ты прошел в ногу. То есть
это там такой момент был, по-моему, он зашагнул, и я как-то уйти пытался, и нога зацепилась, я упал, а там можно повтор даже посмотреть, точно не было нокдауна.
А почему поскальзывался несколько раз, то есть падал? Не от удара, а от того, что именно поскальзывался?
Не знаю, может, там же, не знаю, да, это надо посмотреть. Если в коротком этом посмотреть, там не было никакого, чтобы я от удара там наклейки или что-то, может, от этого я споткнулся. Thank you, guys. Best fighter in the world right now.
There you have it. Islam Makhachev, UFC lightweight champion, potentially the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. I suspect he will be in the UFC's #1 pound-for-pound fighter. But we can talk all about that and more at the post show coming up on this very YouTube channel in just a moment. Take one last look at the champ right there. You don't have to like it, comment section, but the lightweight champion has a name, and it's Islam Makhachev. So The post show coming up in just a few minutes. Mike Hack hosting, E. Casey Layden, Mr. 3024 is right here. Your boy Jed Mashu will be. You guys can be super mad at me the whole time. I accept that. And get Jose Young's on the scene, get his recap from what went down. And the great Shaheen Al-Shadi also joining us. So keep it locked. We will be back with you in just a moment. Good night, everybody, and love you guys.